let's talk power rankings. Let's move it along here. You sent it to me, but I never actually looked at yours. So we're both going to be getting a fresh look at ours, as we always do, week in and week out. We're going to talk about the top 10 on the show. We'll get the full top 32 on Twitter here. So at @_square pod, go check it out there, and we can have a discussion about it all in the comments below and over on Twitter for the full list. But we're talking top 10. We start from 10. We work our way up to 1. Starting with 10. You start.
I got Las Vegas.
Ooh, I have Vegas at 13, just outside some weird stuff. I actually moved Carolina up past them, but
Sure you did.
That's a whole thing. So
But
I have Vegas just outside.
And that's fine. I mean, because my launch pad is not coming from a blanket slate of just games. It definitely is based off of what I was at last week. So some people did not make that kind of a monumental jump over other teams.
Yeah.
In some cases. But, I mean, yeah, you got Carolina. I mean, man, I got Carolina at 14. But that's saying a lot because they were in the 20s. Last
I have Carolina at 12. So.
And that's fine. So I mean, but yeah, I have Las Vegas. They have definitely made that jump.
Okay.
As you were saying earlier, I'm like, I can't say enough, man. They're that team. I mean, I think they're underrated, really.
That's going to be a tough team for Kansas City in this division right now. I think that's going to be the team that they're looking at. Them and the Chargers, obviously.
I'm putting Denver in there as well. I'm just because I think all three is a tough out.
I don't think Denver's offense can really, even with the woes of
Denver.
the.
I'm giving
fair.
I get
the Mile High
It's an
Stadium.
issue in general. I don't know, man. I'm so down on Kansas City right now.
I just don't think Denver's offense is going to be able to get in a shootout with them, for one, and two.
You're absolutely right there.
And two, I don't think Kansas City's defense is that bad that they won't be able to at least slow down Teddy Bridgewater. So Denver to me is obviously the weakest in this division right now. But Vegas is going to be more tough.
I don't think that's even a bad thing.
It's not. Okay, this is a tough division.
Right. Somebody has to be last, but that whole division,
because that defense is going to be hard to play against.
It is, and that's what I'm getting at. That the damn division is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? That when you saying to say what you're saying right now,
yeah.
For Denver to be this. I want everybody to know they're not
Denver's
that bad
in
in
many other divisions. They're number 2 in a lot of divisions right
worse.
now. So, but Vegas, I think that's a very tough team to play against, and obviously we just saw it last week with the Chargers. That's a tough feat. So they've got two powerhouses and an up and coming Denver team to deal with. So Kansas City's got some uphill battles to fight here. But I had San Francisco at 10.
Oh. Interesting.
I dropped them down. I had them way up there at 7, or at 8, and I just didn't. Even though they played a very tough game, you spotted Green Bay 17 points. You deserve to lose based off of that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And just poor clock management at the end of the game. Coaching wise, you got to be better at that. Just effort alone at the beginning of the game, in the first half of the game, you got to be better. You can't spot a team 17 points and expect to win, and you can't, as a coach, go into the fourth quarter, into the last 2 minutes of the game, and completely mismanage the clock the way that you did and expect to win. Both of those, you shot yourself in the foot there, and you deserve to lose that game.
Yeah, agreed. And which is why I did have them at 7 last week, San Francisco, and then they're at 12. So
okay, you dropped them. Okay,
of course, they lost a quality game. Don't get me wrong, but it's still have to factor in. Man,
I mean, I dropped them 3 spots, so I mean, I
dropped them 5.
Yeah. So number 9, I got Green Bay at 9.
Interesting. I do not.
I brought them back into the top 10 after their woes and their. You struggled with Detroit week 2. You lost week 1 in incredible fashion. Heading into this week, solid win, but again, like I said when we discussed it in the previous show, you can't let a team back into this game, let alone take the lead after you were spotted 17-0.
Right.
So defensively, they got to be better. I would have moved them up more if they would have handedly won this game the way that they should have, based off of that first quarter. But there's some things that they still got to work out. But hey, still solid win, still solid game there out of Green Bay. So you move up 2 spots, you get back into the top 10, and you surpass the team you beat.
Okay. And you got San Francisco at 10. Well, at 9, I got the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh. Even though Indy was never really in the game, I had to drop Tennessee because they should have handedly won that game because Carson Wentz just did not look like himself in that game.
True.
Like,
but I had them at 10 last week. They only moved up a spot. It just, I get it, but they don't necessarily move the needle. But at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and
I got them at 11, so it's not that.
I was gonna
say I didn't drop them down to 15.
Okay, it was one of those. I'm not gonna punish them for winning.
No,
you know, they had to win the game. I understand.
No, they won. They did what they were supposed to and won. I felt like they should have looked a lot better.
It was a lot closer, but. Credit to Indianapolis. I'm like, remember, I'm not as high on them now, for various reasons, but they're not a trash team.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's one of those. Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna ding you because it was Indianapolis, and I got a lot more respect for them than some of these other teams.
Yeah. All right. Well, at 8, who do you got?
Oh man, shaking the world up here, Kansas City.
Oh, you dropped them way further than I did.
Yeah, from 3 to 8. They're lucky they're still in the top 10 because after 2 straight losses, I'm just making.
Oh, 2 straight. I get what you're saying.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm using all the elements now that I factor into my numbers. But yeah, it just for a 1 and 2 team, I'm just saying a lot because I'm like, I'm looking at your record, but it's not solely based on your record. It does have to do with strength of record. It has to do with how you look.
They deserve to be in the top 10. They lost to 2 top 10 teams anyway.
Exactly. Can't say enough about this murderer's row thing. You know, like. Damn it, hell, if there were anybody else, they wouldn't even been in the top. They would have been gone a long time ago, sitting at the bottom at 26.
Which is funny. You have Kansas City at 8, and I've got the Chargers at 8. So I moved them up 4 spots rather, getting them into the top 10 as they were just outside after their loss against Dallas. So a quality win. Thought 4 spots was a big jump. For them, especially jumping over Green Bay, who put up 30 points this week as well. Excuse me. I thought that they played a very solid game, and if they continue to play like this, they're going to continue to climb the ranks. It's just a matter of I could not drop Kansas City. I dropped them out of the top 5 just to give people that information before I get to them. But I couldn't drop them any further based off the fact that, again, they lost to 2 top 10 freaking teams. Like, come on.
I understand, but I had to counter. Mine's going to be a little different because I had to counterbalance what's going on with some of these other teams, and that's
for sure. I get what you're saying.
Because at 7, I have the Chargers.
Perfect.
And my point is that went from 12 to 7. I moved them up 5 spots.
You move up an extra spot,
quality win. I'm like, there's no way I could keep Kansas City above you after you just lost the head-to-head at home. It's too much. I was like, it would be disrespectful to the Chargers for me to put Kansas City anywhere above them, even if it was 1 spot. I was like, no, that's why Kansas City has to be at number 8 and the Chargers are at 7.
You got a different philosophy than me, but hey, that's fine. Arizona is who I have at 7. No, I mean, I had Kansas City at what?
It's fine. But like our drops and rises are a little different based, and we're always talking about a spot or two. There's not too many. Oh my God! Why did you come up with that type of thing?
Well, we do have some of those stuff that at the bottom. So if you want to look at some egregious differences, you definitely go check us out on Twitter. But go look at it there. But that's neither here nor there for right now. Arizona is who I have at 7. I moved them up 3 spots. They were sitting at 10 last week for me. No, they had a solid game. I would have wished to just see Cliff King. I need to see coaching wise Cliff Kingsbury have this team fully engaged for the full 48 or full 60 minutes.
I agree. I agree where there's nothing wrong in your analysis of Arizona. Unfortunately, there was such massive shakeups and upsets. I had to actually leave Arizona right where they were at 11. They were
you didn't move them? Okay.
They didn't move. That was the only one that they were just held serve right where they were,
All right.
because and then I'm saying that to say that was when with the win.
Yeah.
It's just they're one of the few, as you can see, 3-0 teams. I mean, there's a few other ones, but one of the top notch ones that we was kind of bragging about. That's actually not in my top 10.
Gotcha.
But they I much as I wanted to, it was some other things that just happened that was just much more significant that got a little bit more range.
I think this is where me and you flipped with the Arizona and Tennessee then.
Probably.
So.
I know we've been kind of been at odds with the two teams,
Yeah.
and how we've been looking at them, So it's fine because they're two very similar teams, and how they talent and adversity and everything. It's just like, oh my god, man, this is. Yeah, I get it. So, but no, I had Arizona at 11, and we're talking about where we're at.
We're at 7 right now.
At 7, and that's why I have the Chargers now.
Yeah,
that's what I said. And like I said,
had to move them past them. Yeah, it was that's what I think a lot of people do. A lot of talk is coming out. Kansas City's 1-2. Oh my god, coming out of this game. But I think we got to get a little bit more credence to LA. That was a solid win there. Like that wasn't like a fluke. They went into the fourth quarter and they won the game.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk number 6. I'm gonna get it out of the way. I've already stated this. Kansas City, they fall out of the top 5 for me. They're at 6. They dropped 3 spots. Again, they lost to 2 top 10 teams. LA wasn't even a top 10 team going into the week for me, so they get moved in. And Kansas City, after losing to 2 top 10 teams, you drop out of the top 5. That's how I looked at it, and I left them there. Kansas City still don't hit the panic button yet, but you got to get it figured out now. You lose a 3rd game in a row, we're going to have some problems.
That is true. Which is why I had them at 8. Because as you can, I'm as big of a homer as I can be for Kansas City. I had to call a spade, and I'm like, no, y'all are severely going to get punished, in these rankings for this, because I cannot ignore that. I can't sit there and let my fandom ignore a quality in a very for Kansas City. It should be a devastating loss. I mean, you can't lose back-to-back games, let alone you just dropped a huge divisional game and at home. So they got some making up to do. Which carries me over to 6. I got Green Bay.
Okay.
Quality win in San Francisco. I don't like how they won. I don't care for them pulling that out, but the fact is they was on the road. They took it to San Francisco in that first half. They kind of set the tone, and they held on.
Yeah.
When it was
well, that's the thing to me. You almost just completely fumbled the bag there at the end, and so granted, like you said, it's a quality win. It's just, to me, I could not move them up too much further than 2 spots because, man, you really, especially with the way that LA won their game, they handedly won, and they deserve the win. Green Bay, you kind of stumbled into the win at the end there because you honestly, you gave the game to San Francisco. You tried to let San Francisco win this game.
Yeah, I probably was a little generous with them. I moved them up 3 spots, but
yeah,
I mean, but I don't want to take away from they did win a quality game on the road. And I'm like, that's big, that's huge, considering that
I got, the road is definitely, I guess, another factor that you got to bring in there.
Well, we had that neutral field stinker in week 1.
Yeah. Let's talk top 5 then. Who do you got at 5?
Tampa Bay.
Ooh.
Yeah, that something that I've still got. You lost to the Rams. I'm sorry. You did lose to a top team, but I'm not gonna sit there and you lost since you talked to a top 5, top 4 team. I'm only gonna move you 1 spot. No, I'm not gonna. Y'all supposed to be that team, And with that, and as much as stacked as they are, somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. Y'all put out a good game. Y'all had a good game plan. However, the Rams was just a little bit more, and they wanted it a little bit more, and they're gonna let Tampa Bay know.
They made Tampa Bay look like.
Let me be generous right now, but it's just letting the world know, and all this NFL fandom. Y'all need to pump y'all brakes on this whole back-to-back championship thing. Like, slow down. Because at the end of the day, when the last time did y'all see one? Oh, I'm gonna go even further. When the last time you remember one? Because
It's New England with
No,
Tom Brady.
but most people wouldn't even. Wait, is it New England? They don't
No.
even know. Like you don't even remember when it happened. That's just or something that they think they heard on,
Yeah.
on TV. And that's what I'm getting at. It's not something that you see every day or anytime or even something you see consistently or on some level or some kind of scheduled aspect. No, it's something you see every once in a blue moon. Why is this any different than any other team? We can make a case every year for every Super Bowl winner, but damn sure could have made it for Kansas City, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So and now faced with the Rams, and I think there's a new sheriff in the NFC. It's just one of those. I wanted to reflect where they're in the top 5, but they're at 5. They're a very good team, but let's make no mistake, they're not the best team in the league.
No, they're not.
And that's not saying I'm not taking anything away. I just don't want. I want to report this, which I would from what I've have been researching and studying and my analysis to show that they're a very good team, but they're not the best team. And X, Y, and Z as to why that is.
All right, well, I got Baltimore at 5, 2-1. I dropped them a spot from last week. You shouldn't be tinkering around and having to have a record-setting, game-winning field goal from Justin Tucker to beat the Detroit Lions. As a team that is in the top 10, a team that is in the top 5, you should win a game with a team that is in the bottom 10. You should be able to win that game pretty handedly, in my opinion. So I think I had to dock them a little bit, even though they did get the win. That was an honorary loss to me for having to deal with Detroit like that. Now, granted, that is a definite positive for Detroit. They are still in the bottom 10 for me, but I did move them up at the bottom of my rankings based off of that was a very hard fought win. I think MCDC is one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. That team is never not going to fight. I feel bad for Detroit fans because, man, that is a heartbreaking way to lose a game.
Yeah.
So that is Baltimore. You do better. You got to be able to win these games more handedly, even with your injuries and whatnot. A team like Detroit, you should be able to handedly have no scares and be able to kind of trounce this team without a problem. So
agreed across the board for everything you were saying, which is why I got them at 4.
Gotcha.
And I had them at 4 last week.
Yeah,
I said the win just kept you where you were. It was very unimpressive. 2-point win victory. Has to have a career kick just to beat Detroit.
Yeah. That's not.
Luckily, I even did that. I had Tampa not lost.
Yeah.
That's why Tampa's at 5. I was like, hey, y'all don't even deserve to be over there. Really, y'all loss was your win was almost worse than they lost. Seriously.
Well, I got Buffalo at 4, moving them back up into the top 5 based off of their win. They handedly took care of business with Washington there. I definitely could have put them over Tampa Bay if I really wanted to, but I do still think Tampa, you played, to me, the top team in the NFL. You didn't look horrible, but you did get your asses handed to you. So it definitely is kind of that kind of catch-22 there. Well, Buffalo, you did what you were supposed to do, though. You handedly took care of business against a Washington team. And so you get moved back into the top 5 after taking a tough loss in week 1 and now making yourselves look like the team that we thought you were going into the season. So That's that. Buffalo, top 4. Number 3, I got Tampa.
And I had Buffalo, so we just got them
flip-flopped. Yep. All right. Top 2. Number 2 for me. You already know who I have. I think I know who you have at number 2.
Okay, who you got?
I got Cleveland. Moved them up 3 spots after their win. 2-1. A very solid win against the Bears. Nothing negative to say about them. They're one of the most complete teams in the NFL, but there is a team that is more complete than them. And we'll get to that in a second, who I think is at your number 2.
At number 2, the Los Angeles Rams. You don't get number 1 just like that. I'm so sorry.
You beat the defending champs, a top 5 team.
I understand, and Cleveland.
But you already had them at number 1, so
yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, Cleveland. I'm not gonna sit there and ding them for winning the game. I can't do it. So Cleveland by default, yeah, they beat Chicago, but they beat them pretty handily, and
Yeah.
that defense looked very good. So I'm making a strong case. I'm like, I get where the Rams are. This is legitimately a 1A 1B situation.
Yeah.
Let me be
I would not be.
I had to put somebody at 2. It just,
And the fact that you already had Cleveland at 1, I can understand why you wouldn't bring them down off of that.
That's
So
kinda
I'm
what it
leaving
was.
it there.
yeah, and
So-
that's why I'm not really eating your lunch about that.
And
I'm
I
like,
have
get
Rams
it.
at 1. Just anybody who's questioning that. The Rams are to me
Everybody
the
like-
best team in the league.
Right. Just make no mistake. It wasn't going to be San Francisco because I remember we didn't really. I mean, I know you mentioned them way at the beginning at 10.
Yeah.
Which I had pushed them out to 12, so they even
Okay.
out of my top 10. So,
Yeah.
Can't lose Green Bay. I'm sorry. So, man, that's so we can at least we can agree the Rams in Cleveland is that team.
Oh, for sure.
They're that team right now. You know,
As AFC and
respectfully.
NFC, those are the favorites as it stands right now.
Yes.
I still betting wise, I'm taking Kansas City in the AFC. But this is what I've been saying about the Rams, even going into the preseason. I said this: the Rams are the best team in the NFC, and I don't see many teams being able to really eat their lunch about it, because really the only teams that I can see really beating the Rams are in their division.
Right.
So they're going to be knocking each other off, and that might be the reason why the Rams might not have the number 1 seed in the NFC. But after beating Tampa Bay, they still might.
Yeah, and I mean, and yeah, you have been on record and saying they were the best team, and I was been reserved,
Yeah.
but I can't really argue it now. I needed to see a real win, and that was it.
Yeah.
You beat Tampa Bay, I'm sold. You get 3-0, you're the best team in the league. I don't give a damn if you played the Jets in Jacksonville the first 2 weeks. It didn't matter. You beat that team.
Yeah.
And it would have been even more impressive if you went to Tampa to do it, but that's neither here nor there. Don't need that. The point is, they show up wherever you're at and you win. You've said something. You've made a statement across the league, not the conference or the division. The league, we're that team, and I can't. Like I said, I won't take that away from them. Cleveland, respectfully, is doing everything on the other side of the conference, other side of the league, and AFC. So, man, could you imagine a Cleveland Browns, LA Rams Super Bowl? Like,
Right.
I
No,
know
you
this
definitely
is kind of
could.
premature, what
Yeah.
you're saying, but man, could you imagine? Oh my God.
That'd be a slugfest. I honestly don't know who I'd be choosing right now. It'd be a tough game to pick.
I would want to see Kansas City probably play the Rams, but whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm thinking back to when they were playing the Rams, the Todd Gurley Rams, before
Yeah.
they fell off.
They should have been. That should have been the
Should have been the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl in the first
Yeah,
place.
right? But yeah, but
Pre-snap penalty away.
maybe we get that back. But Kansas City got to do some work. Cleveland, Rams, Buffalo, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, y'all have been proven to be that team for top 5 franchises right now. We got the same variation in some kind of form in our top 5.
Yeah.
And so I would think we definitely agree that these are the best 5 teams as of right now going into week 4. And with teams like a Chargers and a Kansas City on deck. So it's NFL is just wonderful when you think you said, my
This has been a
gosh.
fun September. I gotta say this has been probably the most fun I've had watching football in September. Usually it's sloppy play. You get some really, really bad games. I mean, obviously we had
refs.
had 2 bad games.
flags.
And I guess that's another point that we should have made in the previous show. Ref wise, get it together. There's just some bad
September
stuff
is
happening
always
there.
their worst month. It's just they're horrible in September.
But outside of that, this has been a very fun month of football to
Mhm.
start it off. I understand we have one more game this month, but to me, the Sunday is in October, so this Thursday is in October to me. So.
I understand. I know we're in week 4, and we're done with September.
Yeah,
but
so-
I have to ask. I know we talk about the top 10, but I did it last. I think I did it in the last show last week. But who do you have at 32? I'm always curious of who your last. pick
I'm
is.
almost positive we have the same team, the New York Jets.
Absolutely.
God, that team is horrible.
God awful. And you've seen how hard I went in, and we at one point, but me specifically about.
I think we
said,
have the exact same variation at the bottom. I have the Giants are at 29, Jacksonville is at 30. Or sorry. Giants are at 30, Jacksonville's at 31, and the Jets are at 32.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Exact same thing.
So I was pretty sure about that. Those teams are bad right now. And honestly, Jacksonville, you could make an argument that
I was gonna say,
the
and
Giants
trending
should
up.
be.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And they're trending up. That's like I was sitting there like, oh my God, I really would want to put you Jacksonville ahead of you. However, the Giants fail down there as opposed to I could push them for another one. No one would really say anything, but I'm like, I'm gonna give you one more chance to see if you can move the needle yourself. But yeah, I'm completely out on New York, as I already went on record. Now we're on the take. I told you if they did not win and cover the matchup spreads, and I know I'm jumping ahead again against the matchups, but I'm probably gonna do it in every segment. I'm just gonna say this: I am completely out on the New York Giants this year.
To make that statement across the board on all of our shows.
Yeah, I'm giving you an honorary L for every week going forward, just because they're that bad. I'm never gonna pick them. I'm just out of spite now because I'm like, gave you 3 weeks to get it together. And now you lose to Atlanta. I'm out. I'm sorry. I told you that last week. I'm like, you lose to Atlanta, I'm out.
Gotcha.
Sorry.